when you first start writing and then you see your name on the bestseller list, which has got to be a thrill, or maybe not, but I would think it would be. False humility aside, that was a big deal, and you've all done it. But Mike and comment, I know President Clinton was famously seen carrying one of your books, and Brad, I think you have a story with President H.W. Bush, who sent you a secret letter that he gave to Clinton. But what's it like? Who's the fan? The fan that you got a piece of mail, or you got something, and you're just like, wow, that kind of thrilled me, or will you not admit it? Who was it? Who was it?
I got letters from Bush and from Clinton, and that's cool. This is the coolest letter I got. Two of them. One, the first girl I ever kissed wrote me, and that's awesome. Right? The first girl you kissed, she read the book, I'm like, right. She's like, no, I didn't read it, I just saw you wrote it, and I was like, oh. But my true favorite was, there was this, this is just a sign of getting older, is there was this young kid who used to come to my signings, and every time the kid would come, I would always say, he was like, I'm going to be a writer. And you just know some of these young kids who are truly, they mean what they say. And I would always give this kid encouragement, and eventually just recently wrote to me and said, my first book's coming out. That's awesome. That is all. And just said, I want to thank you. You were one of the people who encouraged me from the start. And that to me was, that's as lucky as you get.
Anybody else brave enough?
Well, I get letters from politicians, which kind of strange. I mean, they're not politicians, but William F. Connell, Secretary of Defense, we kind of became friends afterward, and then Donald Rumsfeld, Secretary of Defense. So I had the feeling that my books were making the rounds in the Defense Department. But the one I got recently was from Newt Gingrich. Before he started running, I guess he had time on his hands. He wrote me a very critical letter about one of my books, Wildfire. He loved the writing, but he didn't like the preface. So it's interesting that people sit down and these people you see on TV, and they're bigger than life to sometimes, and then they think they're going to sit down and write them an author, and usually with praise and sometimes with criticism.
Awesome.
I wanted to tell a story about Nelson. One of my early books got blurbed by Nelson DeMille, who I was a great fan of, and it was a really nice blurb, long, and I think I only had 2 blurbs on that book, so it was very important. And I met him at a BEA about 15 years ago. I said, thank you for blurbing my book. He said, yeah, my secretary really liked it. That's a form of my blurb.
You have your choice. I can read your book or I can blurb your book, but I can't
Sorry, do you want to share any?
Well, I was going to talk about how much it means to me to hear from the writers I really admired, because I'm such a fanboy, but Michael just crushed those hopes and dreams, and I know that all of my blurbs and quotes have been rendered meaningless, so now I'm done now. He tried me on to crush my soul.
Well, we're going to try to revive your soul.
Okay, that's good.
So, what I want to do, I have a bunch of questions that I can continue to ask, because there's just unbelievable creativity. But I want to throw open and see if you have any questions. So I'll give you a second. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run down and talk with you. So we're going to ask the first question. Or unless you were just bidding, $5, $5, $6. No. What would you like to ask?
I would like to know if you all use an outline to do your plots before you actually start writing, or do you just let your characters tend to do where they want to go?
All right, outlining or organic process, Nelson?
Mostly organic. I have a general outline. You have to know where it's going. You want to know the ending. But otherwise, whatever happens, happens. And then if it's not happening right, you have a chance to rewrite.
He writes in bars, so it's got to be organic, right?
I outline with only about 50 to 100 pages. I know the ending, and that way if I outline the whole thing, then I'm just following like a dot to dot. It's not fun. So just short ones.
Same answer.
Yeah, I don't outline. I think that would take a lot of the fun away from me. When you're reading, it's a journey of discovery, and you don't know where it's going. And if you can put yourself in the same position as a writer, then that's a lot of fun. It's a great time every day.
Good mixture. I always love to know what people do about that. Good question. Yes?
What's your writing process? Do you write a certain number of words per day, a certain number of pages per day?
So do you have goals? I want to write X pages per day, where I know I've failed I can't have dinner unless how do you do that?
I do 1,500 words a day minimum. I write really sloppy, ugly first drafts, probably because I don't outline. So 1,500 words a day.
And do you do that even in like today?
That's 7 days a week.
All the time, okay.
I don't have a word count, I just move the story a significant step every day. If I do that, I know in about 4 months I'll have a draft.
So you do plot milestones, right,
Yeah.
in your mind. Right?
I used to try to do 8 to 7, 8 pages a day because I was young. Now I try to get about 3, and if I get them, I'm happy. I only do it Monday to Friday. I take the weekends off to recharge. I just want to be with my kids.
It's just so amazing to me when you think about these books. 3 pages a day, these are just steady things. And anybody who's aspiring to be a writer, we can all write 3 pages, right? It's great.
Well, there are good days and bad days. I don't have writer's block per se, but I have better days. If I know I'm doing well, as my wife will testify, I will stay there until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. If it's not going well, I'm going to go home at 5 o'clock and have a drink. But there's some goal in terms of words. But if you're really on that thing, there are days when you're on, caffeinated or whatever, you're going to stay there until you can't even keep your head up anymore. So there are 3,000 more days and 300 more days.
Go with it, depending on what happens. Other questions? Or you can bid on something.
Curious about how you get the details for some of the scenes. For example, you have to have a setting with a fight scene with a criminal. Like, how do you get the details? Do you call your friends in the police force?
So research, how do you get the details that make it so rich? Like Brad, we were talking about all the specifics. They're probably not things that people just know. So how do you research and get the details for your plot?
I think context, and I was a reporter for a while and an investigator, to work with, you understand just how little you know about everything after you've done that job, and to find people who actually inhabit that world. That's the only way to get it right. And you're going to get so much gold out of actually taking the time to try and get inside their skin and get inside the world that they live in. Just try and write it from the outside looking in and relying on imagination and Google, I think, would be a disaster.